What's happening, people? Shay here, uneven bounce. Hope you guys are well. So India went into this T20 World Cup tournament as hot favourites. Went like a damp squib. It was... Oh, that's kind of rude because I had a bit of a delay there, unfortunately. Sorry about that, guys. Just kind of ruined my intro. Anyway, they got absolutely pumped, as we know, by neighbours Pakistan and then New Zealand back-to-back. As said before, they went in as hot favourites, but ultimately required Afghanistan to drag them out the shit and get them into the semi-finals. So that was the one it ultimately ended up being. Anyway, as we've said before, Virat Kohli has been a hot topic of debate as per my title of this video. Where did it all go wrong, Virat? So I obviously, as you can see here, I've got two guests with me to discuss it. I've got Sayan, Banejee, aka Jaffa Merchant, bust or not. He's been busting a lot of nuts tonight, I tell you. We've got Krishna Kalki, for once, the Mr. Not impartial, we'll say tonight. Eh? He's got the popcorn ready himself. I should have the popcorn as well, I think, but for the back and forth between these two tonight. We'll be obviously going through Virat Kohli. You said obviously signing his captaincy in this World Cup. Obviously, he's had a lot of heat on him, as we know, over the past 12 to 18 months. And we're discussing Virat Kohli as well as a player in Indian cricket, his future in Indian cricket going forward. After what for me is very much a watershed moment in his career after this campaign. But anyway, I'm going to leave the floor pretty much to Sayan and Krishna for this one. They've been on at me to do this live for some time. I mean, if I actually think about it, the time here now in the UK is 8:03, which means IST. What are we talking, boys? 1:30? 2 o'clock in the morning? That's how much these guys want to come and slag off Virat Kohli. Their captain. Bleed blue and all that. They're bleeding red tonight, guys. They're bleeding green almost. You know what I mean?
No.
You know what? I was trying to get my Pakistan shirt in, but it didn't arrive in time just for this stream, fella. I tried to get it.
The stream would be deleted. Then and there.
But don't worry. It's coming, Rob. It's coming. The Pakistan shirt is on the way. I swear to God, it's on the way, bro. It's on the way. You're going to see it. That's my next Insta post, dude. I'm taking it all its glory. Send it about Pakistan. You know how we do it, man. Anyway, I've talked enough. 2 minutes now. It's over to you. Sayan, I know you've both been bursting here, but I'll start with you, Sayan. We'll let Krishna chew a bit more popcorn before he gets into it. Where do you think it all went wrong? I mean, it's always a very question. In this World Cup, let's just reduce it. Obviously, he's been captain 5 years. Let's just focus on the World Cup for now. Where did it really go wrong for India?
Okay, so firstly, I think the place where it went most wrong was when Rohit and KL saw left-arm pacer. I think that is their kryptonite. Like, you call it Trent, Bolt, Shaheen, Afridi. I don't know who's next. Even today, Rohit Sharma was being unable to, play Ruben Trumpelman properly in the first over because it was swinging a bit. So I think that's one of the problems they have. Secondly, I guess, you cannot, your batting is shit. You can't make a score of 17, 9 of 17, and expect your team to defend that. However good your bowlers may be, you may have a Brett Lee, Shoaib Akhtar in the same team. You are not going to defend that any day, right? The second thing is the spin playing problem of India. We as a country are supposed to play spin well because of the dust bowls that we have, right? Virat Kohli has not been able to do that for some time now. Even that's the same case with Rohit Sharma. Virat's main problem has been the leg spinner and the occasional googly. So yeah, that's the thing. And his captaincy is shit. Captaincy is absolute shit.
Why is it? Why is that? Is that you? Because you said off camera, he's a very good Test captain. Do you feel like in this format he's lacking a little bit, right?
Firstly, I think his choice of spinners. Why would he not take Yuzi Chahal? Why? He has been your premier spinner for 2 to 3 years now. You didn't take him. You took a mystery spinner, Varun Chakravarti, who is still inexperienced in the international circuit, and you directly put him into an India-Pakistan match. First 3 overs, he bowls pretty well. Last over, he gets smacked all around by Babar Azam. Because you are not being able to take a wicket. 150 runs to defend. You can take at least 1 wicket. Set attacking fields. He's not been doing that. He's going for the defense, not for the attack. Something that Morgan and Kane Williamson does really well.
But he's always saying, as Aditya always says, the guys don't bowl with courage, bat with courage. He's always criticising. I think he even said that in the second to last game after Afghanistan. He was like, we don't bat with courage, don't bowl with courage. Right. So then you're saying he doesn't show courage as a leader, as a captain as well.
Yeah, true. Like if you see the field in the first over of the Pakistan chase, right, there were no slips. Why wouldn't you put a slip? But when Mohammad Shami was bowling, you should put a slip, right, because he swings the ball a bit. I feel that's a pretty shitty field setting, and his captaincy has been down the way in T20s, to be honest. Like, how should I explain this? He's not being able to find that proper chemistry between the team that is supposed to happen. And Hardik Pandya, if he's not bowling, he shouldn't be in the team. The man scored 23 of 23 in the second match, and correct me if I'm wrong, 0 or 1 in the first match. And
he's the highest, got the highest strike rate right in the side. Struck it at 153.33.
No, that's if you consider all the last 3 matches against the farmer teams, right? Don't consider that. I'm talking about the first 2 matches.
So we got cool. Is that one of your boys?
I love Virat as a batsman. He's one of my favorites. But Virat as a captain, in tests, great. ODIs, T20s, nah. ICC events, shit. Absolute shit. With the top 3 of Rohit, KL, and Virat, you are supposed to reach semi-finals of every ICC events. That is like something given. After that, what you do is on the captain, right? Defending the scores.
But why must you finish the semi-finals every event? Why? Why is that?
You give me a better top 3 in the world right now.
Well, I can give you 3. Pakistan, Australia. Well, I'll give you 4. No. Australia, Pakistan, New Zealand, England, right?
Australia, 2 out-of-form batsmen. Aaron Finch and what's his name? David Warner. Barely scored a run. England also, if I take Jason Roy, Josh Butler. Who's your number 3? David Malan. Right. Look at our number 3. Rohit Sharma, KL Rahul, Virat Kohli. Name a better top 3. There isn't any. Krishna, can you name any?
I mean, well, for starters, if you're reasoning for why a team's batting the top 3 is bad is because they're out of form. Form is something that's like that keeps changing, right? Like even if you consider this team right now, Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul's form was bad in the first 2 games. Virat Kohli's form was not good after the first game. So you can't use form as an excuse to like say a top 3 is bad. Obviously, the argument for whether a top 3 is good or not lies completely on paper. If we're talking on paper, I don't know if India's the best. I wouldn't say India's the best. I'm just this point, and you told me not to be diplomatic.
On paper.
For this, I mean, you told me not to be diplomatic. I won't be diplomatic for the later part of the show. But on this particular topic, I think it's hard to say, man. Really, England's top 3 is good. Okay, it's a very solid.
No,
Jason Roy and best.
Like match to match. Yeah, Jason Roy, Josh Butler, Rohit KL,
Jason Roy, Josh Butler, and David Malan. Dude, David Malan was number 1.
David Malan, how many times did David Malan bat 3 in this tournament? He batted 7 in the first game. There's another comment saying, I like the fact we got comments coming in. So, it's interactive. So
I would like to take this. Okay. So one of the points
is it Anch?
Yeah, it's Ansh. So one of the things is
he's coming at you boys. He's probably coming at all 3 of us maybe because he's got a few comments.
That's the thing in bilateral.
So thank you.
There's a difference between bilateral series and ICC events. I already said that. It's the ICC events I'm talking about, not the bilateral series. With this team, you are supposed to make the semifinals any day of the week, right? Krishna, would you like to continue?
Okay. I want to talk to Mr. Ansh. I like the fact that you used your name twice. Yes. I wouldn't. Obviously, if the openers fail, it's not the fault of Kohli's captaincy, but the records of Kohli's T20 international captaincy. He's not won a multilateral event. Actually, this is one of the points I wanted to get to. If you look at his
I'm not talking about bilaterals.
In bilaterals, most of the time you're playing bilaterals in India, right? And you're playing. You're playing at home. It's sort of easy for you to win. There's not much pressure. But when you're playing a multilateral event, you're not just playing one team. You're playing many teams in a course of over the course of many days. So it's not easy to. I mean, it's not easy to win those particular tournaments, and even though it may be in India, it may be elsewhere. It's not easy to win those games, and you need a good, solid captain to win you those games because there's pressure involved. To continue your point of the openers, I think. See, if I look at the entire Indian batting, the reason why it has failed this time, I can't chalk it down to openers because see, you will lose wickets in the power play. You will lose wickets, right? It's about how strong an order you have. It's about whether your middle order can contribute if the openers fail. Right, South Africa did that beautifully against England yesterday. Right, Rassie van der Dusen and Markham played
Marco.
very well. Right, um, there have been so many. Shoaib Malik also yesterday, fantastic innings. Right,
Hafiz
uh,
too.
Hafiz, Asif Ali, all these guys. The middle order has taken the responsibility when the top orders fail. You'd expect that from a top side like India. You'd expect guys like Hardik Pandya, Rishabh Pant, Jadeja, yours Surya Kumars, Ishan Kishans, all these guys to take the responsibility. But unfortunately, the Indian middle order has not done well at all this time. They've relied, and if you look at the course of the Indian cricket team in white ball cricket over the last few years, it's been heavily ruled by the top three batsmen. The top three batsmen have had the responsibility of scoring the runs. The middle order has not really been exposed to situations yet. We've not really been as fluid as a team when it comes to our batting order. We've sort of said, okay, the top three go for it. If you go for it, then the middle order can come in and finish it at the end. But if you guys fail, we don't know what to do. We'll just figure it out whatever when it happens. And that has hurt Indian cricket. It really has. We had the same issue leading into the 2019 ODI World Cup, where we were struggling to find a number four. Right, we're struggling. We're like, oh, is it going to be KL Rahul? Is it going to be Dhoni? Is it going to be Rayudu? And all sorts of rubbish and nonsense happened through the course of that lead up to the World Cup, and even during the World Cup also, we didn't solve that problem. We didn't necessarily solve it. And then Shreyas Iyer was sort of put into that role at number four, and he was doing really well. And India persisted with Shreyas Iyer for a while after the World Cup, right? But then afterwards, Shreyas Iyer was injured, and we had to find other alternatives. And now with just an absolute mountain of batsmen coming through, the number four slot is still not really secured by Shreyas Iyer, even though you'd expect it to be his. Similarly, this World Cup, right? Surya Kumar Yadav was picked as the flamboyant, the dynamic player. He was picked as the guy who was going to score all the runs. He was gonna take the world by storm, right? And Shreyas Iyer was played as a reserve batsman, right? But Surya Kumar Yadav did not have enough games to secure the number four spot. If you really look at, he didn't have enough games to really say that, oh, I've secured the number four spot. He was there because of his IPL record, right? He wasn't there because of the fact that he secured his spot. Shreyas Iyer was the permanent number four up until Surya Kumar Yadav had gotten into the team. So, India, honestly, the same issues. Number four. Middle order was not solid enough. We didn't know who our middle order was. We were chopping and changing with our opening also, with Ishan Kishan coming in at one game, which God knows what happened. So it's essentially a failure of the think tank and the batting selection itself. It's not just the top three.
Okay. Another thing I feel is so Virat, as he's not playing spin well, so what he could have done is come in that 16 to 20 or 15 to 20 overs when the pacers are supposed to bowl, right? Against a New Zealand or a Pakistan where Harish Rauf, Hassan Ali will bowl, right? So that is the time, because he's a great player of pace, right? We cannot disagree with that. But if you see his entry points, I feel the entry points have been wrong. He came in when spinners were on. Against New Zealand, it was Ish Sodhi, right? And he was playing pretty slow. In the Pakistan match, he played really well. Cannot disagree with that. Yeah. So I think these are the matchups that you have to look up to. Like when spinners are on, put in Surya Kumar Yadav because he's a specialist spinning hitter, right?
Okay, so we've obviously focused on the batsmen for quite some time now. What about the bowlers? I mean, you brought Ravi Ashwin in, which I think is a left field move. It was a bit of a surprise to me when he was announced.
Bhuvneshwar Kumar. I mean, he was not informed before this.
But what was your thoughts on Shami Bumrah?
No, Shami and Bumrah had to be there because they were our premier bowlers. Who can you pick except for Shami? Maybe a Siraj, but
Shami was expensive, wasn't he? He went to almost 9 over in this comp. He was expensive.
True.
I don't think Shami was at his best very much. Maybe he's carrying some kind of injury, some niggles, maybe coming into the competition.
Ashwin was brilliant. Bumrah was good. Um, Other bowlers, I don't think anyone else was that good.
The reality was your group was the easiest. There's no argument about this. Compared to
True.
the group A, it was the easiest group. All you had to do was beat one of the Kiwis or the Pakistanis. Simple. I think what's worse for Indian fans is the manner of defeat. I mean, it must hurt as a staunch Indian fan like you two to get absolutely battered by Pakistan that first game. The way it's such a limp, pathetic performance. If you lost narrowly to both sides, I think the big shock comes from Indian fans the fact that you've got absolutely battered by those two sides, and also you've gone and done what you should have done anyway. It's been Namibia, Afghanistan, Scotland. Who cares? Do you know what I mean? Whatever. To me, it's the man of the defeat. If you lost those two games, those first two games in a small margin of defeat, okay, fine. But I just think it's maybe India. You said before about the top three being so good, Sayan. But you try and write off bilateral series. But isn't the performances in the bilateral series the reason why you come to that conclusion that your top three is that strong? Because you can't base it on just IPL, right? You're basing on the fact that Kohli has done so well. Because as Anish said that you haven't lost it. Is this true? You've unbeaten almost 6 years because he took over in January 2017. So almost 5 years. Sorry. That's incredible, science. To be fair,
That's an incredible record.
That is
no one's
absolutely
disagreeing with
unbeaten in 5 years as a captain in this format. And I think maybe there hasn't been a World Cup since this time, right? Since he took over, right? So I think maybe it was a little bit case of complacency. Do you think that maybe have set in? Because you had enough mileage in your legs. You always came off the IPL, the second leg. You had games under your belt. You should have, that's what I think is what's most surprising as a neutral fan, me, as an England fan, like seeing India capitulate so badly.
No, I think one of the main problems, if you look at the last 4 years, right, from 2017 to 2021, the kind of consistency in other like the English lineup, you'll see. I'm not taking the Pakistan series as a thing. So if you look at that, there is not that much consistency in the lineup, right? You get my point.
No, sorry, I just wanted to bring up a comment from Juma.
Yeah, I just read that, and it's kind of.
He's your boy, and he's a Kolkata handle as well. So.
So
sorry, Karen.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you need a consistent 11, right? Not in performances, just like the names. For example, you have got a Josh Butler and a Roy opening for many times, right? Previously, it would be what Shikhar Dhawan and Rohit Sharma. Then suddenly it changed to Rahul and Rohit Sharma. Then a few months back, it changed to Rohit and Virat. Then there was Ishan, if I'm not wrong, in one match. So it keeps on changing. You don't have a consistent spot fixed.
I don't think you've got room for Kishan and Pant on the same side. I think you've got one or the other.
But we have to make it. We have to make it because we need players with intent now.
Pant disappoints me a little bit, to be honest. But I mean, that's anyway. Sorry, Krishna. I just want to let you carry on, and then we'll get into Kohli.
Actually, I wanted to. So we've talked a lot about the batting. I wanted to talk about the bowling a little.
Yeah.
So with respect to India's bowling, when the squad came out initially, right? We had 5 spinners in the form of Jadeja, Akshar, Ashwin, Rahul Chahar, and Varun Chakravarti. Yeah, we had 5 spinners, and we had kept Shardul Thakur, Deepak Chahar, and Shreyas Iyer in the reserves, right? And the fast bowlers were Bumrah, Bhuvaneshwar, and Shami. Now, the expectation was that the spinners would do well, but yet you only had one leg spinner in there who has also been who's also had a reasonably good performance in the last 2 years, but he's not been a complete through and through match winner for you. And one of the trends we saw in this World Cup was that the leg spinners were getting the major wickets and putting a lot of pressure on the batters. Then literally a day before or 2 days before the squads were finalized, you had Akshar Patel coming out for Shardul Thakur, which honestly was not a bad move in my opinion, because you needed an extra seamer and you wanted to beef up the batting. If you weren't sure about Hardik Pandya, so you wanted Shardul Thakur to be there as an option. You could play at 7 or 8, which was okay, I felt. But the fact that somebody like a Deepak Chahar, okay, who's been India's, I think one of if he's been one of India's best T20 international bowlers in the last 2 years, 3 years. He got a hat trick against Bangladesh in that game. He's been consistently taking wickets for India. And India needed somebody who could take wickets at the power play, which we lacked this time, especially against Pakistan and New Zealand. And Shami was chosen over Deepak Chahar and so Bhuvaneshwar as well. I just felt that Shami, personally to me, I don't think he's had a great T20 record at all. If you look at his IPL performances, if you look at his international performances, it's not been. There's nothing really noteworthy to talk about there. He goes for high economy rates, doesn't take too many wickets. In IPL, yes, he's been good in the last couple of years. He's been taking a few wickets here and there, but his economy rate is still pretty high. And there are better bowlers in India than Shami. Like for in T20 internationals, in T20 cricket in general, there are better bowlers than Shami. There's no doubt in my mind.
Who's that? Throw some names out, Krishna.
I mean, for
Siraj.
starters, I would have looked at somebody like a Siraj. I would have looked at Shardul Thakur and Deepak Chahar as the mainstays in that 11, as opposed to Shami and Bhuvaneshwar as mainstays in the 11. Maybe Bhuvaneshwar you can make a case because he's been one of India's best prime T20 bowlers, and you expect a guy like him to find form. But Shami has never really set the world on fire in T20 cricket. Deepak Chahar has not. I mean, you can make an argument that Deepak Chahar has done, in a way set the world on fire, but not completely. You can make an argument for Deepak Chahar. You can sort of make an argument for Shardul Thakur, maybe not in T20 cricket, but in cricket in general. He's that sort of the kind of the Lord player that we call, right? The Lord Thakur, the guy you don't expect anything from, but he does well for you all the time. So I just felt that India were relying a little in the bowling department, relying a little bit too much on their on the all-roundedness or the well-roundedness of the bowler, and they were not compartmentalizing for formats. I think because T20 cricket is a very different format from 50-over cricket. There's a lot more analysis, there's a lot more tactics, there's a lot more captaincy brilliancy that is required in T20 cricket than is in 50-over and Test cricket. And similarly with the spinners, I just want to go back to Ashwin, right? Ashwin has not had any IPLs to write home about. He's not had any T20 domestic seasons to write home about. Yes, he had a good Australia tour. He had a decent tour at home as well against England. But does it warrant a T20 spot? I really question. I would say Akshar Patel was more deserving than Ashwin for a T20 spot. I think they were trying to use Ashwin as a replacement for Washington Sundar, who would have taken his spot. But immediately just throwing Ashwin back into the mix when you have guys, maybe somebody like Tewatia could have been considered because he's a leg spinner who can bat as well. Maybe, you wanted a more all-rounded profile to the side, right?
Sorry. Sayan's face, he mentioned what?
No, I'm just saying, like he was considered in the team. He was picked in for Australia, right? And then he was taken out. England, I think. You could have considered that, but picking Ashwin, I would say Tewatia warrants a place in that side more than Ashwin, personally speaking. If you were trying to get somebody who can bowl leg spin and bat, who else is there? Who really is there? So I just felt that India were a little too bullish on the. They just went back to experience that has not played in a while, and that's one of the reasons why the bowling failed. Like just
also that when you're picking players like Tewatia or Ravi Krishna or someone like that, right? You got to try them out in the bilateral series rather than put them right into the World Cup, right? Like that's what happened with Varun Chakravarti. He got only one international series before this, and that also against Sri Lanka. You got to try them out for 1 year. See, that's what I'm saying. Bilateral series, you should take it as perfecting your 11 for the World Cup. Keep that in mind, and then just work on it. Like if you've got your opening bases covered, great. Continue with that. Now concentrate on the middle order. Build that. Like that's what I want from Rahul Dravid and Rohit Sharma for the next year till the World T20. Yeah.
Yeah. In addition, obviously, I would want to say that the omission of Chahal was just, outrageous.
True.
The omission of Yuzvendra Chahal was just absolutely. There was no reason for why Yuzvendra Chahal should have been dropped. Yuzvendra Chahal, he may have been yes, he has not done well recently. But if you are looking for a leg spinner who can bat, if you wanted somebody who can bat, Tewatia was an option. Is all I'm trying to say. But besides if you're really looking at the leg spin, why was Yuzvendra Chahal not considered at all? He's been India's best T20I spinner by a long shot. Probably ever. And the fact that he's not getting, he's getting out of the side because of 3-4 bad games made no sense to me. You've been building a side for so long. Yuzvendra Chahal was an important part of that side. He was an integral part of that side. He was a guy who was winning you games. He was a match winner. And just suddenly taking him out before the tournament. And if you're picking 5 spinners and Yuzvendra Chahal is not in the top 5 spinners in India, like, give me a fucking break.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Also with Chahal, he seems like a guy who's like a good guy to have around the camp. Like, he's a positive guy, a funny guy. It's good for team morale. He's obviously playing the Kohli for so many years now, and he doesn't seem to dampen his spirits at all. I've seen his YouTube channel and stuff like that. He seems a decent guy to have around. And one thing I mean, you guys will get into the Kohli captaincy now, but one thing I feel like in that India team, I'm not convinced they're all that happy to play on the Kohli anymore. I feel like maybe the kind of stress levels that Kohli seems to build up internally might have an effect on his just the mood in the camp. Do you know what I mean? So having guys like Chahal could be more than just what's on the field as well. So they could look at it in that respect. But because I always thought Ashwin and Kohli as well, bringing Ashwin back, Ashwin and Kohli seem to have a little bit of I won't say a beef, but they seem to have like a very competitive edge against each other, especially over the years in IPL. And I feel like they're very two massive characters. Let's say rather than ego, which you could say. So I felt like maybe it'd been a case of like that could that been not saying splitting the camp, could have made things a bit more fractious. You never know. We don't know, do we? Ash's not the kind of guy to back down. I don't think Kohli's definitely not either.
I think I'm leaving this emotional stuff aside. I think what Virat should have done, and Ravi Shastri and the team management, they should have laid a blueprint that this is what we need. The roles, they should have defined roles for everyone. Like, for example, you need a left hand, right hand opening combination. Okay, you put that. You need a hard hitter in the middle at number 3, maybe put that. Virat at 4, Virat at 5, whatever. You need to lay a blueprint, right? I think that is what England has done, because if you see them, they have got like replacements that work very similarly, like a Timer Mills and a David Willey, both left armers, right? We do not have a left arm bowler. We had one, Natarajan, but he got injured.
No, but Mills came as a fast bowling option because we had Wood and Archer as our pace bowling duo, as you know, in India earlier this year, opening the bowling for us, 92 miles an hour on both ends. Tyler Mills, being a left armer, was simply a bonus. He was there because of a like-for-like replacement in terms of pace. Obviously, proved himself very good in the 100. Obviously, Sussex did quite well, but Southern Brave did excellent. And you're right, there's a blueprint for England. It's been built over years and years. And they have the set roles. And when someone goes away, I think what's really good about England over the last 2 years, they've used about 20 odd players. So they're giving people a reasonable amount of time. And you're quite right, Sayan. The actual series are there as almost a testing ground to see if you can cut the mustard. Do you know what I mean? So we've got some more comments here from Anish. So I appreciate he's been on the whole time and given us comments. So thank you for that.
That's actually quite true, because I don't think Virat would drop him. I think it's a
but don't you think Virat's a big enough guy to say this guy is my guy? I'm not having him left out.
It's kind of like we don't know what happened behind the scenes, right? So I think
maybe this happened behind the scenes. Anish's next comment.
This is true. This is very true. Because news has been leaking left and right. Yeah.
What is it? Anish, what do you mean exactly? Well, you guys tell me what he means by politics. What is it? The fraction is there split camps in selection in how the team should be run? Is that what we're saying here? What's Ganguly failed to stop? Stop him what exactly?
Firstly, he's not being able to stop dressing room drama. Secondly, news have been
dressing room drama. Who's at the forefront of that? Who's at the core of that?
So that's why I tell you to be on Twitter. So few days back, there was a news that came out that someone from the Indian dressing room, 2 players, complained about Kohli being, too much aggressive, shouting at them, not training properly, something like that.
Like a bully.
I don't know the complete. Yeah, kind of like a bully. And of course, the players weren't named, but then a news like that came out by a very good publishing source, right? So yeah, these things haven't been stopped at all. Krishna, continue.
Um, I mean, with respect to politics, see the news reports are the news reports, right? Uh, they're they are ultimately news reports. Unless there is like substantial proof, we can't say anything. But I will say this, with respect to dressing room, it is plausible. It is plausible that Kohli is a bully in the dressing room. It is plausible, and one of the reasons why I think so is, if you remember the 2019 World Cup, there was one of the biggest, one of the greatest clips that came out of that semi final against New Zealand was the clip of Virat Kohli going to Shastri and sort of yelling at him, or sort of just getting like losing his temper or something, right? And that was I think one of the defining clips of that match, where somebody, like, there's just no coherence, and there's no like coordination in terms of who is playing where, who is doing what. Like that game, Pant and Pandya came above Dhoni, and everybody was crying, saying, why isn't Dhoni batting at 4 and 5, right? And I think, and people were pissed about that. And Kohli also was pissed. It looked like Kohli was pissed at that decision. And as much as Kohli and Shastri like to show that they're the best of friends, and they're singing Kumbaya in the desert, it's not. I don't think that picture of the dressing room is what you see it as. Even with Rohit Sharma, I mean, the fact that Rohit Sharma was in the IPL 2020, if you remember, Rohit Sharma did not play some of the games leading up to the playoffs, and they had omitted Rohit Sharma from the Australia tour, the white ball tour.
Yeah.
But there was
And,
a
there
video.
was huge confusion, because there was the BCCI said he has there's a fitness report that
Injury.
came out.
That was a mess.
And then
there
Rohit
was a
Sharma
video
is
that
training in the
emerged.
nets. He's training in the nets. He's playing the games. He wins the final for Mumbai Indians in that season. And, and there was just so much. Like confusion about what is happening in the team, and I think that's where it really started from. The whole leak of the dressing room not being a pretty picture.
That was
It
last
started
year, wasn't it? That was
there.
last year.
That was last year.
That was
It
linked
last
to, yeah.
Yeah, I think the downfall, one of the pivotal points in the downfall of Kohli as a T20 captain came from that particular moment. And even the BCCI, the selectors, everybody is there to blame. I want to say one thing also with respect to this World Cup. You talked about a blueprint, right? England had a blueprint, Pakistan had a blueprint. They made the change with getting Rizwan at the top of the order, and it's worked really well for them, right? So they had like all these teams had some planning going in through. A lot of teams chose not to play the IPL. A lot of players chose not to play the IPL and lead up to the World Cup, saying that they may get tired, they may be fatigued, whatever, right? With India especially, I want to just take you back to 2017. There was an interview he did, a post-match interview he did, where he said, we honestly don't care about T20 cricket. It was against Sri Lanka. The game was against Sri Lanka, and it was a moment that was sort of just swept under the rug. It's like, oh yeah, he's just joking. Yeah, it's Ravi Shastri. He says a bunch of nonsense. He's the coach of the Indian team. I mean, for whatever you want to call him, he may be a drunkard, whatever he is the coach of the Indian team, and he is outright saying we don't care about T20 cricket, right? And I think that from there, that was a very defining moment in terms of the Indian T20 team, and it shows. It's really shown in this World Cup. We don't care. Look at the way the selection has happened. They're just picking players who've done well in one IPL season, and just throwing them into the national side, saying, hey, listen, let's see what happens. We're rewarding you. Venkatesh Iyer, why the hell is he there? Why are these guys there? I'm talking about net bowlers. Why are these guys there suddenly, right? Net bowlers, why are they there suddenly? Like, for what joy? Why do you need 7-8 net bowlers? I mean, obviously that's a different conversation. For what happens later is a different conversation, but I'm just talking about net bowl. Why are you taking 8 net bowlers? Why are you taking so many people? Why is Chakravarti getting a game after one? Why is Chakravarti getting into the side after just one good season in the IPL? Why is Unadkat? Why did Unadkat get a chance in 2017? Right. So all these things, it's like, these guys, like, you're not building a side. You're not maintaining. You're not forming a core for your side. You're just picking players, as the day has it, and that unfortunately has shown in this World Cup. Your Kishan was a player you picked for the day, like Surya Kumar you picked for the day, right? Varun Chakravarti you picked for the day. What happened? You lost out on Chahal, you lost out on Shikhar Dhawan, you lost out on Shreyas Iyer. This is what happens.
And also another thing that Saurav Ganguly, our BCCI president, said, I guess a few months earlier, that our Indian players don't get bubble fatigue and we don't get tired. Today, Bharat Arun comes out and he says that the players are tired, bubble fatigue, IPL and T20 World Cup had no gap. I'm like, dude, the players who played, they were out a long time ago. So why these excuses now?
You don't blame us something, I guess. Just Anish said this, so just regards to the politics.
Yeah, I was not trying to bring up the names, but thanks. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm a bit surprised by Pujara, to be honest. That surprised me a little bit. He's, more of a very much a team man. Yeah, Krishna.
Actually, so I just want to plug my friend's article here. He wrote an article on Kohli's captaincy, and one of his blog is called the Jerky Loudspeaker. So just go check that out. But one of the glaring points that he made in that article was that the biggest moment under Virat Kohli in India's cricketing history under Virat Kohli came without him being at the center of it, which was the 2021 Gabba Australia series win.
Yeah.
Right. The biggest moment in Indian cricketing history after the 2011 World Cup. Right. We didn't really have anything to celebrate after the 2011 World Cup. Yes, the Champions Trophy is there, but I'm talking about a real victory, right? A real, like, very tough victory. And this one was probably the greatest victory, Test series victory for India, right, in cricketing history. And he wasn't there. And all these players, these Natarajans, your Shardul Thakurs, your Sundars, who are all nobodies before this game, right?
Gill.
Even Gill, to an extent also Rishabh Pant, right? They didn't have. You could clearly see there was not much pressure on the bowlers to do something big. The team just looked a little more relaxed, even though there was so much media attention given to that game and so much attention was on Kohli for leaving that series. I think it's very interesting that the biggest win for India came without him being at the center of it. I just think that's something that really defines his captaincy. Like, it's like a tagline.
Another thing was last winter in the Test series, right? This is the thing I admire about Morgan, right? He backs his player through thick and thin. The thing was, Rishabh Pant was removed from the squad. He was not even there in the squad in the Australia series, right? Ridhiman Saha played, and KL Rahul kept in the ODI and T20 series, if I'm not wrong. Right? He was not even there in the squad. Like, Rishabh Pant is generational talent, to be honest. That guy can pick out a match from anywhere and winning the match, right? So you gotta back players. You gotta back your players. David Malan, after he has played so much shit, right, for the last few months, he's still being backed. He's still going to play in the semis. So that's the thing. You gotta back your players.
But I think at the same time that may come a cropper with David Malan, because I believe that if we do a hand on heart, I don't believe Owen Morgan believes that Joe Root isn't a better T20 batsman than David Malan. David Malan, his stats just you couldn't ignore him. After what happened 2 years ago against New Zealand and obviously in South Africa last year, he's gone from strength to strength. David Malan, Australia last summer as well. He's just it became too much of an issue really to drop him. But the reality, I'm sure he's looking around thinking, you know what? Yeah, if this guy was the number one T20 batsman in the world, why the fuck is he batting at 7? Why did he come in? It doesn't make sense. If you read, it's just. It's also Shakabala Sayan as a number one T20 ranked all-rounder. Recently, I saw that.
Don't talk about
it. It's just some of these stats can be very skewed. I mean, that's why I say a lot, stats for Prats. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like, if you just want Milan, like, backing him. Yes, he has backed him, but I still feel like it's more of an ego thing than anything else. A little bit like Virat Kohli. Like, we saw in the Test series against England, everyone was absolutely saying, where is Ravi Ashwin? Why is Ashwin not playing? Where's Ashwin? And he refused to play the dude because I think he wants to prove a point where almost like pride becomes for a fool, I feel. But anyway, so yeah. But I know what you're saying. And I guess because the pool of plays as well that Kohli has to his disposal makes it harder to not drop plays after
but you
a
don't
short
have many
amount of time.
But you don't have many keeper batsmen, right?
We don't.
No. I'm talking about India.
No, you got Kishan, you got K. Roll, you got Pants.
No, I'm talking about tests.
Okay, yeah.
Like,
okay.
he didn't play the first test at Australia. So you had what? Ridhiman Saha? man is way past his form.
You've got KS Bharat actually, who's being groomed right now as we speak.
I mean, he hasn't played international cricket yet.
Yeah,
So,
but he's been part of the reserves for a very long time.
true.
So yeah.
So it's the thing. You got to back your players.
Yeah, fair enough. Right. Obviously, it talks about obviously we've gone through India's performances and the lack of, should I say, which resulted in them obviously bowing out at the group stage. What do we see now? Virat Kohli's just turned 33 on Friday. He's obviously settled down. He's got a family now. Is that passion, that raw passion, is it starting to fizzle out a little bit? For want of a better word, he's obviously hitting towards his mid-30s now. He's obviously relinquishing the captaincy. I believe, maybe it's wrong, but he's also losing the ODI captaincy as well. Do you
That's
think
just news right now.
is that okay? Okay, fine. Do you feel that Virat Kohli should retire from T20 cricket altogether, or simply
According to me, yeah.
or just
According
slip
to
back
me,
into the ranks?
according to me, except maybe KL and Bumrah, the T20 team needs a revamp, just like the 2015 World Cup team of England, right? They they just threw out all the legends: Jimmy Anderson, Stuart Broad, Alistair Cook, all were gone, and they brought in new blood: Johnny Bairstow, Butlers, Stokes, players, right? So I think that is what you need to do in this 1 year. Use your bilaterals well, construct a side. You've got a T20 series coming up. Look up to that. Um, Bring in your Venkatesh Iyyars, Ruturaj Gaikwads, Abdul Samads, whoever you want to, but keep a consistent 11 for the next maybe 2 to 3 series, and then if the ones who are not performing in 2 series, throw them out, bring in new players, and then try them out. That's all I want to say.
I mean, Anish is obviously a big supporter of Virat Kohli, from what I can see.
Yeah,
I mean,
I never doubted Kohli the batsman.
but you're. I mean, Krishna, do you think Sayan is he throwing the baby out with the bathwater? Is it too much of is it overreaction potentially from Sayan, or do you respect him?
I would think throwing Kohli out of T20 cricket doesn't make any sense. In terms of as a batsman, no, hell no. Virat Kohli has been, if you look at the last 2 years, everybody says, "Oh, Virat Kohli hasn't gotten a century, hasn't gotten a century." His best 2 years in cricket have been in T20 cricket. In the last 2 years, his best format has been T20 international cricket. So we have to give Kohli the credit he's due as an international T20 batsman. Yes, he has not been good in this World Cup, right? He got 59 runs on a tough pitch I don't know if it was a tough pitch to bat on, but a tough situation to bat in, definitely against Pakistan. He got
Obviously, that's
59
what I'm
runs
saying.
there. So no, I mean, should Kohli retire from the game completely? No, but should Kohli be should Kohli leave white ball captaincy? 100%. I think he should. Yeah, so at least that's what I think.
I personally feel that with India hosting the World Cup in 2 years' time, that's gonna. I think after then, that might be a watershed moment where you say, "Listen, let's go with a brand new team. It's a new cycle." I feel like the guys, if we look at Jadeja, 32, Kohli's turned 33, Ashwin's now 35, Shami's 31, I believe. These guys in their 30s, they might just hang on as best they can for dear life in some instances. Bovey's 31, hang on till 2023. Because I think the idea of playing a World Cup at home is a massive deal. We saw what happened, Yuvraj and Dhoni, Sayan, these guys in 2011. What a different nation. I think it's from a selfish point of view, Virat want to hang on till 20. Definitely, I think because the World Cup's in 12 months' time, another T20 World Cup, you might want to have. I agree with Sayan, make a couple of tweaks. Venkatesh Iyer, Gaikwad, maybe a couple of tweaks. And then 2023 got the India World Cup. And then you can say, you know what, get rid of the guys. Any guy, then maybe at that point.
No, but what I'm saying is our template like evolving with time? I don't think so. Not in ODIs at the least.
But
Not
maybe,
in
but,
T20s.
maybe Rohit and Dravid can.
I would like to
bring
give
it in.
one small example, right? So in the England Sri Lanka match, maybe it's against Sri Lanka, but they were 64 for 4 or something like that. Butler scored a century. There was Morgan who played quite well, I think Livingston also played an innings, right? And like switch back to New Zealand, India. Um, right after they lost the wickets, they just went into a shell, right? That is what needs to change. Like even if you're losing wickets, you need to attack, like counter attack. That's what I want. Get my point?
Show courage. Bowl
Yeah,
with courage, captain with courage, bat with courage.
yeah.
I mean, fair. Okay, okay. So you're saying, guys, that Kohli should continue to play all three formats, drop the white ball captaincy, and carry on. Okay, fair enough. Have we seen the best of Virat Kohli?
No, there's one more peak left.
You agree, Krishna?
Mm. See, it's a tough one to say, really. I think his peak is gone. Personally, I feel the purple patch of Kohli is done. I mean, he may have a few more good. He may have a few, centuries here and there. But purple patch, we're talking purple patch. Um, I don't think that's going to come back. Simply because when you look at Kohli in the last, it's not like he hasn't. It's not like the pandemic has forced him from getting runs, or it's whatever. It's been happening since November of 2019, right? It's been 2 years now since he scored a century. It's been 2 years since he's really been, he's like commanded a game for India, you know. So and that is Virat Kohli's strength. He commands the game. He bosses the game. He dictates proceedings. Right? It's been a very long time since I've seen Virat Kohli dictate proceedings in a game, and that's what I mean when I mean purple patch. Right? He dictates proceedings on a consistent basis. We haven't seen that.
Well, you'll get a purple patch if you're in a purple shirt, right?
Listen, man. You give it the big chat and that, but you ducked on that Zoom, man. That motherfucking Zoom in the final, man. You ain't nowhere to be seen, man. You ain't nowhere to be seen.
Hey, come
man.
on.
Your boys getting whacked.
Smacking us all over.
Your boys getting whacked in it by Krishna's boys, and
hey, come on. We had one injury.
You even wearing yellow today, man. You busting yellow out, man. There's I think subliminal messages in it.
No, nothing. It's nothing like that.
No,
I feel there's one peak left.
He's 33. It's still, I mean, he's such a fit guy as well. Obviously, So I think, I don't know. I have to wait and see.
Shoaib Malik smacking at 42 or 44, whatever he is, right? So we can expect it from Virat.
We may have seen the best of him as a test batsman. I think. But we'll have to see on that. I feel like his ego will carry for like 2, 3, 4 years. I think he'll want to shut a few people up, I think. But anyway.
2-3 years in tests? I don't think so. Does he have the fitness to go in? Like, I know he's
definitely. 100%. That guy's fit. I absolutely could think that, yeah.
No,
he's just turned 33. I mean, Alistair Cook was extremely fit cricketer. And he played to what? 30.
The other thing is...
Almost 24.
The next WTC is what? 2 years away? I mean,
50 over,
See, we will reach the finals, right? So, don't you think?
But aside that mentality. And listen, I'm not having a pop, man, but like you're extremely confident about India all the time, and that might be just a general kind of viewpoint in India. Like we're going to get there. We should get there. We're the best side. Isn't that part of the problem potentially? That the pressure on the side is that you guys. I'm not saying necessarily you, but like it feels like almost like you feel like you've got this divine right to get to the semis because we're India. It doesn't always work that way. No, I don't think in knockout cricket, I don't think it works that way. I mean,
let's be honest. We will.
But Test, you got to the championship final and you got waxed. You got waxed by New Zealand.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. No, that's what I'm saying. Leading up to the final, you need a new team because it's in 2 years' time. I don't think a Rohit or a Kohli will maintain the same form till 2023 or whenever the next WTC final is. You should. Yeah.
Is it Rohit older than Kohli? Rohit. It's funny, isn't it? It's actually older.
He's 34 or 35, I guess.
Krishna, yeah.
Yeah, this is exactly the problem. You hit it on the nail. Seriously, this overconfidence, and I'll tell you where it comes from. Yes, we have a great team. I agree. We have a very good team. We have a fantastic team. We have some very quality players India is producing. India has been, if you look on paper, India has been the best team in the last 6 years across all formats. 100% I agree there. But it doesn't mean that the game is always bigger than the player, than the team, than the officials. The game is always bigger. And you have to respect the game. You have to respect the game. The game is, see, ultimately, paper does not decide who wins the game. Who plays better cricket, who plays good cricket,
On
who
the
wins
day.
in the,
On
on the
that
day,
day.
who clinches the game in the moments that are crucial, that wins the game, right? And paper has no who is good on paper in those situations has no control over what happens in the match. You can why is it that RCB have had some of the best teams on paper but have never made have never won an IPL trophy? Because paper doesn't decide what happens. They've shit the bed. They've shit the bed. India has shit the bed. Right?
It's all
India has
funny you mention RCB because Aaron's here. He's had a question for Sayan. Mr. RCB himself. I'll wait for his question. I'll bring it up in a second. But sorry, carry on, Krishna.
Yeah. So you can never ever. Whenever I've noticed this, every time in cricket, every time I've seen this, anytime somebody gets overconfident about their team winning, be it a cricketer, be it a media official, be it a fan, right, be it the general consensus, that team always loses. This happened in Champions Trophy, this happened in World Test Championship, it's happened again this time, right? And it is, if we have to correct this attitude, and I'll tell you why we have this attitude. Okay, I would say it's the media mainly, and the media essentially is, the news channels are paid to have this sort of, to prop up the team, right? That's how they make their money. That's how they get the TRPs, right? That's how they get the hype and the reaction and everything, right? And obviously, as innocent gullible cricket fans, right, we watch the media, we're hoping for analysis, we're hoping for insights, we're hoping for just some good good quality conversation about the game, right? And it's usually, we're gonna pump you out of the park. Look at Star Sports; they're running these ads saying Pakistan, Moka, right? It's honestly, it's all done just to gain that. They don't care whether India wins or not. They don't have any stake in whether India wins. They just want their TRPs up, and this is one
But
way
in
of
my
getting it up.
defense, these Star Sports motherfuckers, they always show Super V's, Super KLs, and shit. So, they get a bit overconfident.
No, see, the TRPs are going to go up anyway because they're going to talk about the team, they're going to prop up the team, and then when the team loses, everybody's going to tune in for analysis on why the team lost. So it works. It works well for them, right? The hype is see, when the team loses, we're gonna shit on them so that you get TRPs there. When the team wins, you don't really get as many TRPs there because you're just saying, oh, the team wins, yeah, good job, amazing. Nobody really wants to watch that, right? But before the game, when you have nothing to talk about, obviously you want to you're going to sensationalize the shit out of the Indian team. So you're going to prop up the ratings, you're going to prop up the TRPs, you're going to prop up the team, say we're the best team in the world, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and what happens? You get fucked, right? So
Yeah,
it's
that's true.
This is the problem we've had in Indian cricket. See, you cannot call yourself a world beater. You cannot call yourself a world beater. You cannot call yourself the best team. You cannot call yourself the best team ever, the world champions, if you've not won a fucking trophy. You just cannot. You can't. Like, yes, Virat Kohli has been a great. I mean, he's been good in bilateral series. India has been good in the bilateral series. He's been very good in the bilateral series. India has been crushing it. But when it comes to the big match situations, you're fucking it up. How are you any different from a South Africa then? How are you any different from the New Zealand of them?
Hey, now, come on, not Temba with us.
No,
I mean,
no, it is. No, AB de Villiers, Callis, all these guys. Everybody said, "Oh, these guys are the best."
Yeah,
players
no,
in the
true.
world,
Yeah,
best players in
they
the
were
world."
fuck all.
Yeah,
Staying the rest of these guys, all these guys.
Aaron had a
thing,
question,
true.
right?
you got questions, yeah. So the first research question we've got is for you, Sayan, which is,
Can you share it?
absolutely, what type of Jaffa is our resident Jaffa merchant selling? And the next part two to that question, is oranges or cakes. Do you know what a Jaffa cake is, Sayan?
No, I know what a Jaffa is in cricket. I don't know what a Jaffa cake is.
Jaffa
But
cake
I
is,
like
it's,
oranges, so I guess it's oranges.
Okay, we'll get Jaffa cakes over here. They're quite big. So like a little chocolate biscuit, soft sponge underneath with like a chocolate orange center.
It's like
Why
a-
am I
it's like a-
explaining? Why am I fucking detailing Jaffa cakes over here? Thank you, Aaron. One for Krishna here, because Aaron's gonna...
Oh God, no! Please.
You can't diss RCB. Aaron will never let get away with that, man. This boy never let get away with it. So
Can
there
I
you
just
go.
point out one thing? I have seen the 49 all out live in the stadium, Aaron. Just so
You
you
say
know,
what?
I've got the pics. I've seen the 49 all out live in the stadium.
That must have been a fun time.
See,
And Aaron is saying, remember this night. So remember this. He
see,
will
Aaron,
note this
Aaron,
down.
Aaron, I just want to say one thing, right? I have not really shit on your team. I just merely called it out for what it is. So,
Well, it's a shit team, to be honest. So.
I mean, you have shit the bed. You can't deny that you shit the bed when it
On
matters.
multiple occasions. Multiple
Where's your trophy
occasions.
at?
Where's the fucking trophy at? Right.
Yeah.
It's true what they said, though. It's true. I'm not saying necessarily equating to the Proteas, but it is true. You can't get to these.
Even the
tournaments.
Proteas won 4 matches out of 5.
I mean, that was a hard group.
Yeah,
You just had to beat one of New Zealand, Pakistan, and you'd be through. You know what I mean?
South Africa overperformed. They overperformed, really. Like,
Even
they
Sri
outperformed
Lanka.
expectations. Yeah.
I'm not sure on that. South Africa are a good outfit going in decent form as well.
Yeah, but they were not gonna surpass Australia and England. I didn't think they'd surpass.
No,
at
you know
least they
I
didn't
think-
compete.
I think they were kicking themselves over the Australia
overperformed.
loss, to be honest.
Because-
yeah.
Like the way Warner came in the last match, my goodness, that shot just reminded me of his peak, the Warner peak, right? And Finch also has been great in the 85 chase. That is, I think, what differentiated between South Africa and Australia.
I'll get my little this comment as well. I think we all agree RCB betting Dolphins. You're fucking mind, man. Don't come in here telling me that RCB betting Dolphins, dude. You must be joking, man.
Petition to bring the Champions League 2020 back to see this actually happen.
Bad memories.
Right. Okay. So, right. Any final comments before we wrap up? You two, Krishna, you've been. I would say, man. I was expecting a bit more.
Yeah,
No, I have one more. I have
diplomatic.
one more.
I was expecting you to go in, bro. Do you know what I mean?
I have
Dig
one
a few-
more.
dig a
I know,
few graves
I've been
up.
going in. I've been going in. It's just that I've been.
You've only
I've
been going in more in RCB than fucking Kohli, man.
No, I'm gonna go on Kohli right now. Actually, I had a point on Kohli right now. So here's the thing, right? With Kohli, he's been captain for what, 5, 6 years, 7 years now. If you take the Test captaincy also, 8 years now. So sorry, 6, 7 years. And then with IPL RCB, he's been captain for about 9 years now. Yeah. So one thing I've actually noticed in Kohli's captaincy, okay, is that if you look at the chatter all around it, right? You look at the chatter all around the captaincy of Kohli. It's always, whenever Kohli is shit the bed, it's always been, let's go easy on the team. You know, let's not. They're a good team. They're a good outfit. Let's not call them. Let's not shit too much on Virat Kohli's captaincy. Let's treat them with kid gloves, right? And you look at every commentator in Indian cricket, at least today, any pundit, any analyst on a big platform, right? They always have the same talking points. It's always, oh, Virat Kohli has, whenever asked about Virat Kohli's captaincy, has it been a total failure, right? They're always like, oh, it's, he's brought in great fitness levels. What he's achieved with the Test team is great. The firepower and the fast bowling, it's all because of Kohli. So I really credit him for that. But nothing else to say about Virat Kohli's captaincy. Really? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, Virat Kohli as a captain in white ball cricket has shit the bed so many times, and if this was, you remember when MS Dhoni was captain, how much shit he got for 2015, how much shit he got for the T20 World Cups before, after the 2007 World Cup, 2009, 2010, everybody was shitting on Dhoni. Everybody said Dhoni should retire. Where are the people saying Kohli should retire? Where are the people saying Kohli should give up the captaincy? Not one person has come out and said Kohli should give up captaincy. I'm talking about public circles, public cricketing, platforms, the pundits, if you will, right? I don't know what it is. Like, is the BCCI paying you to prop up Kohli's captaincy? Is Kohli's captaincy so fragile that it's susceptible to even a little bit of criticism? Which is why I wonder whether the man's ego is too inflated. I really do. Because almost everybody around Indian cricket is saying, oh, Kohli is great, Kohli's amazing, Kohli's this. And when Kohli shits the bed, oh no, it's not Kohli's fault, it's fine, he had a good team. They're not shitting the bed because of the captaincy. They're shitting the bed because, on the day they're just under pressure or whatever. Like, and then another point I've heard is, oh, Virat Kohli is young. He's only captain in one World Cup. He's only captain in one Champions Trophy. He's only captain in one T20 World Cup. He's only done it once. He's a very young captain. Dhoni was the first fucking time he was captain was in a fucking World Cup. 2007 T20 World Cup. He won it. First time he was a ODI World Cup
And
captain. He won
Joginder
it.
Sharma was bowling the last over.
Yes,
Out of all people.
he won it. He won it. Okay, so don't give me this. And how many captains are there that get to captain more than one World Cup? They really, really fucking think about it. How many captains? There very, very few people are privileged, are so privileged to do that. A World Cup happens once in every 4 years. Which means you have to be captain for at least, I think.
Yeah, but you have two formats now, don't you? You have two formats. So you generally every 2 years you get, I mean, the World Cup, I mean, shit,
Right.
T20 was like 9, 10, 12, 14. You had like 4 World Cups in 5 years. Fuck.
Yeah.
Another thing I would like to point out is, so back in 2012 when India lost again, like in the T20 World Cup, MS Dhoni came out to the press and he said, "Yeah, it's my fault. I take the blame. Right? I have not been good as a leader." I have never heard Kohli say that. Never ever. However bad he might have shut the bed, right? And also, Krishna, on your point about the commentators, I would like to remind you of Harsha Bhogle when he was removed from Star Sports broadcasting rights because of he criticized a certain player and he was removed. The next day, he was removed from the panel.
No, the fact the fact of the matter is Kohli's captaincy has been so fragile that it needed everyone around Indian cricket to prop it up. Like and just look at how easily and how quickly it's disintegrating, right? Just like it makes me realize, oh wait, Kohli was not actually a solid captain from the start. He was never the yes, for all the firepower, all the aggression that he shows on the field, all the I am the leader, I am the alpha male. I mean, right now it seems like it's been just a ruse that we've been a part of for the past 4 or 5 years. Seriously, that's what I feel, because it's just and the whole Kohli Kumble saga. I mean, just like the fact that the coach was absolutely removed from the team in such a pathetic manner. The way that just unfolded, like I mean, I lost a lot of respect for Virat Kohli after that happened. Like I really didn't think he was ever like a lot of people come and tell me, oh Krishna, why are you so critical of Kohli? You've always hated the man. I think, now if you really look at it, like I have my rights, I have my reasons for it, because he's not there's a sense of there's just a bad energy around the dude. There's just something that, like, he just doesn't give me, like, he doesn't seem genuine as a captain when I
And
look at
even
him.
today on Twitter, on the last day when India is going out of the group stages, right? People were writing, "Oh, what an era of Ravi Shastri, Virat Kohli." I'm like, except for Test wins and bilaterals, what have you got? Have you got a single World Cup to show for? No.
Yeah.
T20 World Cup? No. Nothing.
And he wasn't part of that greatest win. He wasn't
That's
part
the
of it.
thing.
Kohli wasn't there.
That's the
He wasn't
thing.
there. And that's one of the reasons they probably won that.
I wonder how much that actually hurts him now. How much that hurts him. But don't forget, he won 2 years before, right?
He did.
In Australia. So it's like
No, he's a good test captain.
He broke that knot. It wasn't like it was down to Rahane. He did it before too. So it's like, well, I've been there, done it. But I think the manner of that victory was what you're referring to, the greatest win. I mean, on everything that happened, the injuries, etc. So, yeah, I think Kohli, I think actually probably behind the scenes is probably a really good guy. I'm sure, like, personally, outside of cricket, pretty good guy. I'm sure he's a lot of charity and he's a good dude. Do you know what I mean? Just he polarized opinion, like Dhoni, for me, as a neutral. Most people, from my knowledge, love Dhoni. They fucking love that guy. The way he came across, you always hear the stories about him. His bedroom window, his hotel room's always open. Come and chat about anything but cricket. He's a good dude, cool dude. Do you know what I mean? Well, Kohli finds this. I don't mind intensity as a player. I think Kevin Peterson was quite an intense player. There's thousands, obviously, take the sport very seriously. But I feel like Kohli crosses the line too often, where it becomes the negative energy becomes palpable. That's what I said to you before about the atmosphere in the change rooms. People like Chahal could have assisted with that to keep a light-hearted feel to it. You know what I mean?
Even if we leave that part,
it's not a fucking army where you're general and they're not soldiers. They're not.
But that's the thing.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So,
I mean, like, in an army, you don't know your people. So, what I would like to say is, take for example Morgan, right? He knows his men. He knows when to bowl a Chris Stokes, when to bowl a Sam Curran, or anyone. Does Virat know when to bowl Bumrah? He didn't start with Bumrah on the first day. He didn't
Okay.
start with Bumrah in the power play.
Sayan, if Owen Morgan took charge of India in this World Cup competition, would have he got them through the group stage?
5 out of 5.
Okay. Do you think a lot of that is down to as well? Forget about the innate talent which India possesses, which it does in spades. Do you think it's also about man management? You can't. Some people need an arm around the shoulder. Some people need an absolute fucking rollicking. Kohli, to me, is not the kind of guy I ever feel will put an arm around the shoulder, and that's his
No,
problem right
he
there.
does that. He does that. I'm not gonna lie.
It feels like he treats everyone or is similar to how he feels they should be treated, irrespective of like the personality.
See, when you're playing in an Indian 11, right, you have to be the best out of 1.3 billion people
Yeah.
out there. Right? So you have the talent. You have the talent. It's about how you manage the talent, how you utilize your resources, right? I think that's what Virat has been lacking in ICC events.
No, I mean, he's lacked it. He's lacked it across the board, not just ICC events. He's lacked it even in RCB as well. I mean, the kind of purchases that have been made, the way he's used certain players. Like, why is it that everybody who leaves RCB blossoms into an amazing player like Moeen Ali, Stoinis, Hetmeyer? Why
They had freaking KL Rahul,
they had KL Rahul, right? KL Rahul is
We are
has been-
Rahul. We are
Yeah.
Rahul, man.
Yeah. No, I mean, obviously,
okay,
SRH is a different story altogether. KL Rahul was not really KL Rahul at that. He was not the KL Rahul.
No, he wasn't.
He wasn't. But no, I mean, Virat Kohli as a man management, as a man manager, has been pathetic. Has been absolutely. I mean, it's just been an utter disgrace.
There's another guy, who has been great at this. Like, call me biased or whatever you want. It's Gautam Gambhir. He's won with what Rajat Bhattias, the Iqbal Abdullahs. He has won with these people. Like a Bretley who is not a Bretley, right? He's not in his peak. He has won with those people.
No, yeah, and not only that, it's like when you look at the teams that have been successful throughout the course of, I mean, IPL, throughout the course of World Cups, throughout the course of, any ICC event, it's always the teams that have always, when you're picking a squad, you're always picking 11 players that will make your side every day, right? And then you're picking 4 players that you're picking as reserves, and you're not really chopping and changing the side too much. Right, you're not expecting, you don't necessarily want to chop and change the side too much, because you back a group of core players. That's why you pick 15 core players before a certain tournament, right? In the hopes that you will persist with them, right? That's why CSK has been successful. That's why Mumbai has been successful. That's why KKR was successful in the 2 years they won the IPL, right? And Virat Kohli, if you look at him, he's always chopped and changed every time. He's always
Even in the
chopped and
New
changed.
Zealand match, why wouldn't you make Rohit Sharma open?
Yeah.
It's
Like,
crazy.
you're changing the entire nucleus of your team. Rohit Sharma is the nucleus. He's one of the key components of the nucleus of the team, and he's not batting at the top of the order. Some Ishan Kishan, who's playing his first T20 World Cup match, who's played a couple of T20s before this, now he's suddenly getting the responsibility of opening at the top. And that, I mean, say what you will, whenever the team loses a wicket, it puts pressure on the next batsman.
And
It puts
Virat doesn't
pressure.
understand entry points. I think that is
Yeah.
something Kane Williamson understands very well. Entry points
Right.
is like when a spinner is bowling, you put in Surya Kumar Yadav. When a pacer is bowling, Virat Kohli goes in. It's that kind of the matchups. Like, we need a data analyst.
I think England have mastered that, actually, with the bowling in particular. As entry points. They've done fantastic with that. Anyway, sorry, Krishna, to wrap it up, yeah?
Yeah. When you look at Virat Kohli, like, we look at all the people who have been sort of captained around Virat Kohli, right? You look at, I mean, Virat Kohli obviously was a captain in majority of the game, but in T20 cricket, in the period of 2017 to 2019, before the pandemic, right? Virat Kohli was not really playing as many T20 internationals. He was always taking a break, right? It was Rohit Sharma who was doing a majority of the captaining. If you look at Asia Cup, Rohit Sharma was the captain. If you look at
Nidahas Trophy,
Rohit, and these two were multilateral events, right? Multilateral events, and Rohit Sharma won both of them. He won both those events. It was multilateral, and he won both of those events. And they didn't have the best squads going in. They didn't have the Rohit Sharma did not have. He didn't have Virat Kohli, who was a fundamental part of that team. There were many times where guys like Rohit Sharma were injured. Guys like you then have Shikhar Dhawan at some stages of the tournaments in both those tournaments, right? So, but Rohit Sharma was able to manage that. He was able to get victories in those tournaments. He was able to get victories even in bilateral series without a Virat Kohli. And that really tells you something. A guy who's won 5 IPLs, who's supposedly a standby captain, is winning more T20 international games and winning more multilateral events than the guy who's a regular captain of your side. It really tells a story. It really does. You start to wonder whether the actual captain of the team is necessary in that outfit. I think one of the biggest blunders India has made in the last 5 years is not giving Rohit Sharma a captaincy in any of the white ball formats. I think it's one of the biggest blunders in history.
It's fear, to be honest. Fear of the outrage.
Yeah.
I think that's the word. Just Kohli's status has gone almost out of control. If that's the case, do you know what I mean? So, anyway, we'll wrap up there, guys. Thank you very much. And it's very late over there now to something talk about Virat Kohli and everything else. But I appreciate it was an interesting topic to cover. So yeah, thanks a lot for bearing with me to come on so late. I really enjoyed that. And I will say thank you to Anish as well, because he came up with some really good points. Actually, helped to push the stream along, and that was cool. That was really good. And thank you to Aaron for allowing me to explain the content of a Jaffa cake. Thank you for that. Actually, your last question, Shelly Murray's put, sorry, I do, mate, but sorry, number 2, Dolphins, number 1, bro, number 1, always, man. And I can't wait to be back in Durban in about 5 weeks' time. And I got my 2 new Dolphins shirts awaiting for me. Thank you, Richard, my brother-in-law. He's got them sorted out, so I can't wait to put them on. Yeah, so yeah, it'd be good. Anyway, I will wrap it up there. Unless have you got any final points you want to close on, Sayan, Krishna, before we shoot?
Oh. No, but just Virat is going away as a captain. I hope for brighter reason.
I had like sign like this, just like it froze, just like that. It's like literally, he was looking to God, looking for inspiration, man. God. Anyway, all right, man.
Rohit Sharma, captain in ODI T20 formats, has to be done today. And not KL Rahul or Pant, please.
No, not KL Rahul. One more thing about KL Rahul. That motherfucker succumbs under pressure. He never performs under pressure. Like, that dude only performs when Rohit performs, or maybe, the others perform. He never performs alone.
That's like the Ian Bell of English Test cricket. People were basically fucking slobbing that guy's dick for years, man, Ian Bell. But the reality was,
at least Ian Bell had a beautiful cover drive.
It was constant Ian fucking Bell, man, all the time, man. I always read this shit. I was like, this motherfucker only scores runs when everyone else does. It's 2-3-5. Always fucking 2-3-5, man. 2011 against India. The reality was, he only scored runs when everyone else did. When he came into the pressure, the Shermanator just turns out puss, man. Every time, man. Like you said with K. Rahul. Sorry, I'm digressing, but it just reminds me of Ian Bell, that like mentality, that black.
Another one of those is Bumrah. Never performs in knockouts. Never for India. But we don't have an option, so.
I think Rohit Sharma was a good stopgap for 2 years. Let him captain for 2 years. Let him see the World Cup through 2023, and then let someone young.
Give Morgan an Indian citizenship right now. Get him there.
Yeah, give him, man. I don't care.
Yeah.
Give him. Let him go, man.
At least we'll
go to Kolkata. Stay in fucking Kolkata, man. No problem. Sign and put you up in his house, man.
At least we won't waste one overseas slot on him.
Anyway, all right, I'm gonna wrap it up there, boys. Thanks very much. I really enjoyed that. Thank you. 1 hour and 15, that, man, lads. So yeah, it was good stuff. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. Everyone, if you're watching live or you're watching after this been recorded, do catch some more content with Sayan and Krishna. I'm sure once again very soon.
Ashes is coming up.
Ashes are fucking over here. Still some late nights coming up, man. Sayan, where can we find you, man?
You can find me on Twitter at Jaffa Merchant and on Instagram at Banejee.03.
What happened to bust you or not? Is it done?
Nah, man, I got internships coming up, so I can't.
Because you know to be searching on social. That's hilarious. Yeah. That's where it's come down to now, isn't it? And Bangalore's answer to Lionel Richie over here. Christian, what's going on, man? Where's the latest musical performance? Listen,
yeah,
man,
no,
where's the latest song about India crashing out the World Cup? Surely you can put something together.
Yeah. I have to do that actually.
Man, you got to put something together, man. You have to.
I gotta
You
put
have to put
something on that.
Yeah,
I
man.
will.
You got to go
Yeah.
hard. You need to go like Tyler. You know Tyler the Creator. You know who he is?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
You got to go like Tyler the fucking Creator, man. Go straight fucking gangster on these fuckers, man. Straight up, man. You need to go hard on that one. No soulful singing for this one. You need to go hard on these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Jokes, man. Jokes. No, definitely, man. Definitely, dude.
Yeah. So you can find me on Instagram, Krishna Kalki, and I'm on Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify. Yeah.
Fantastic. All right, you guys, get some rest in it, man. I'll be too charged up after all that. I will leave you guys to it. Yeah, this will leave a bounce. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Catch you next time. All right, guys.
All the
Cheers.
best, Rahul Dravid. See you.
Indeed.
Rohit.
Good luck, mate.
Yep.